Welcome everyone's to this week's reading of the Daily Meditations and Native American Elders, presented by the White Eagle Talking Circle. Um, my name is Josiah, and I'm an alcoholic.
Uh, Hey, what's
Hi,
up? My name
Josiah.
is JC. I'm in recovery.
My name is Randy. I'm an addict alcoholic.
I'm Janice, and I'm an alcoholic in recovery.
My name is David R. I am alcoholic in recovery.
My name is Feline. I'm a grateful alcoholic.
Thank you guys for joining me today. Um, then before we go into the reading, providing our reflections, I ask Janice to open us up with a prayer.
Oh, Josiah. Our Heavenly Father, I thank you for the blessing of a new day, Lord. I pray for all those of us that are walking the road of recovery. I pray for all those that are still out there and struggling, Lord, that they may find their way eventually and blessed with a good life. Pray for all those that are mourning out there. Pray for those that are also suffering and people that are in the hospital fighting for their last breath. Heavenly Father, be with them and heal them, comfort them. I ask that you continue to walk with us on this road as we turn to you for all the help that we need in our recovery. And I ask blessings upon all of us that are here today. In your heavenly name, amen.
Who? Well, we're going to jump right into the fall meditations with Native American Elders, November 15th. Our spiritual belief is that we were created as part of the land. So our identity, our names, and our songs are all tied to the land. Chief Roderick Robertson Nizga. In a traditional way, the names of Native people had great meaning. We even had naming ceremonies. The naming of someone was very important and had great significance because it was tied to the earth. The identity the identity of each member and teaching of the songs were all tied to Mother Earth. We need to know these teachings from our culture. This knowledge will help us heal the people. My maker, today help me find my identity. Who? I know for me, like the identity, that was like what was coming through for the reading for me today. And identity is like who and what we are. And I know like for a long time, when I was in my addiction, I didn't really like know who I was or what I was. But as I began to walk the red road and started having that relationship with Creator God, who I am and what I am became more and more clear. I am a sober Native American man. I'm a child of the Most High. And those are, so strong in me today that, even when I talk about it right now, it just kind of draws some emotion from me. And it took me, a long time. It took the red road to help me see that, to see who and what I was. And, um, a well-variety teaching, who are you, what are you, where are you going? Where am I going? I'm moving forward on the red road, and I'm trying to help my brothers and sisters that are walking the red road, and those that have gone back out, and those still caught up in their addiction. And those are, just like a very simple thing. And culturally, I know that, those of us, we all have our Indian names, native names, and we're supposed to aspire to that and try to live out that name. And through that, we also find our identity and our purpose and something to strive for. Um, Earlier this year, this elder, native gentleman, I was having a discussion with him, and he told me, like, we're talking about recovery, talking about sobriety and all that. And he said that, I'm not going to forget that I'm native, because if I forget that I'm native, then I'm going to start drinking beer again. I'm going to start partying again. And that just kind of blew my mind. I was like, for, his definition, like to be native is to be sober and to be well and to be living in a good way. And that alcohol and drugs, had no part of that. And, that sticks with me. And I think about that often, that I cannot forget that I'm native. I cannot forget who and what I am. If I do, I'm going to definitely go back out. And, that's what the reading was bringing through for me today. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Janice. Oh, she turned off her screen.
Loser.
I
I
think
think she
we.
needs to unmute herself.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Feline. You want to go?
Bottom left, hit the mic.
Go ahead, Feline. Calling you.
Oh, she's gone.
Dipped out. Go ahead, Feline.
All right. My name is Feline. I'm a grateful alcoholic. Can you guys? Okay. No, I was just thinking of that. Josiah, as Josiah was reading, I was just thinking of my own. My name is Mianahne. It's Kills in the Morning. And I'm from the Northern Cheyenne tribe, and I was named after my paternal side of the family's my aunts. And my aunt, Virginia Allren, was Southern Cheyenne. That's who I got my name from. And I remember her as a kid, she'd always come and the powwows every summer, powwows, and she had buckskin dress, and she had the most beautiful daughters. They all danced. Her son, she passed away. She's been gone from us for probably about a year now. And but yeah, we're tied. That's our identity of like Josiah was saying, who are we? What are we, and where are we going? This program teaches us that it connects us back to our culture and what all that stuff that's literally swimming in our veins is our ancestors and their memory and who we are as a people. Early in recovery, I was kind of figured it out. Not only do I represent myself every time I walk out the door, I represent my family name. I represent my community. I represent our people every time we go and we do something. So sobriety, long-term sobriety was really important, and I didn't know how to achieve long-term sobriety when I first started out. It was only until I kind of stepped out of the way and allowed the Creator to come in and start moving into my life, and then I was able to find long-term sobriety. And the culture piece was really significant to me because that's what saved me. Is it allowed me to reconnect back to who I really was, and I couldn't go on this life and pretend to be something that I'm not, because I'm Native American, I'm a female, and I belong. I belong because in my addiction, I didn't belong. I felt like I didn't belong. I was so disconnected from who I was, and I had no idea where I was going. And so I'm just really fortunate and just grateful to be here today. And I'm a little sick today. I'm sorry if I sound, like I'm going to cry or something, but I'm just not feeling good today. So thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks for joining us despite your being sick. Appreciate that. Janice, we lost you there for a second. Go ahead.
Hey, talk about identity crisis. I lost myself. But anyway, my name is Janice, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. I want to apologize for that. I'm not really computer tech or even phone tech. These new things are new to me. I'm from the old school, so it's hard. But anyway, I'm very grateful to be a part of this today, and join in and just share a little bit about my struggle with identity. Some of you have already heard my story before. I struggled with my identity for a number of years as far as who I was, what I was, and how did I fit in anywhere. My grandmother is an direct result from the boarding school era, and therefore she was in the boarding school where there was no love, there was only cruelty. They didn't know how to nurture. They didn't learn how to love, and they only knew abuse. And so that was kind of passed down in our family. And my mother, because she was an alcoholic, my parents gave me to my grandmother. And my grandmother had never drank, never smoked a cigarette, never did nothing, but she had all the character defects that comes with alcoholism. And so therefore I was raised in a home. One, we weren't Indian. Two, don't speak your language. Three, you could only have white friends. It was that's how I was, and I struggled with that for a long time because I knew the difference in my heart. I knew that I was Native, that I was Crow. My dad, my dad continued to be a part of my life, even though my mother had moved on. And him and my grandfather, the late Matthew Goodluck, he was a very traditional man. He wore a reservation hat. He had long braids, and they would come and visit me practically every Sunday, and they'd take me for a drive. And then I got to a point where I'd go stay. I spent my summers with my dad, and they were the true Native. They spoke their language, and that's how I learned how to understand the Crow language. I never really, I can't say I totally was very fluent in it. However, I'm able to understand. I'm able to have a conversation, simple conversation. And so I struggled with that in school, not knowing and living in fear if my grandma caught me, where I'm supposed to hang out, who I'm supposed to hang out with. And then I got to a point where I wanted to be them people. I wanted to be a part of their group because they were the smart people, But later on, when I got into my addiction, I didn't give a rat's hiney where I came from, who I was, or what was going on. I was totally lost from the beginning, and only until I started getting into recovery was I able to say I was successfully happy and enjoy life in my skin, because I know who I am and I practiced my cultural values, and it's kind of crazy because I practiced more of the Northern Cheyenne ways than I had in my traditional Crow ways, because I had lived over there for almost 25, 30 years, and I lived amongst them. I had, true friends in recovery over there that helped me and guided me along the way. Um, I became a faster, and I believed in everything that it was going to help me in my recovery, in which it did, and it saved me for quite a number of years. However, the minute I turned my back on my cultural values and the cultural prayers that I had done and believed in, turned my back on it, and I turned my back on God, I turned my back on my recovery friends, I was back out there again. So I have today gotten back in wholeheartedly in recovery, and I know who I am today, and I'm okay with that. And I always say, if you don't like me, I don't give a shit. That's your problem, not mine. But I don't have to belong, because I'm a child of God, and I belong there. I belong a part of my groups here, and it keeps me going. And, today I feel really, really blessed that I am a part of this today, because I too have just come out of, I'm a COVID-19 survivor, and I'm still having some slight effects. I still don't have my sense of smell or taste back. I still get kind of winded, but I've kind of been like that for a while, ever since I started entertaining the food on the table. But I feel 100% better, and I leave it. I have to thank God for that. You know, I was spared, and after I think about all these people that are dying from this virus that we have now, and even, you know, the tragedy of young people dying senselessly because of alcoholism, it just makes a person want to, just continue and constantly say, I'm grateful. I'm thankful for God watching over us and keeping us safe throughout the night, and taking care of our families and our loved ones. And so that's kind of how my struggle was with my identity, and where I came from, and how I got here today. And I'm very strong in my spirituality, whether it's in Christianity or my cultural ways. I'm strong, and I trust that that will continue to work in my favor to stay on my path of recovery with you guys. And that's kind of all I got today.
I'll pass the mic over to David and your
I am
dog there.
David. Oh, I am David. This is Ron. I'm a grateful alcoholic in recovery. Like Josiah, thanks Josiah and the group for inviting me to today's meeting. The reading, like what we kind of all kind of pinpointed as the identity. I don't know how to say my Indian name in Crow, but my grandpa David Stewart Sr. gave it to me. He passed away not too long ago, but he gave it to me. It's whistles good. Later on, as I gotten older, I asked him what it meant and why he gave it to me. He said, from the day you were born up to date, you always had, you're outspoken, and you're always all over the place, basically. And you're always talking, and you're always either you're involved, and you always speak up. And so I sit there and I just think about it. I kind of look back on my younger days up to date, and yeah, I've always been involved in something. And but yet the past 3 years is when I actually slowly started figuring who I really am, because all I ever known was being a drunk, and that's who I was for 20 years flat. And so, like today in recovery, every day I'm always finding something different that I'm very grateful for. And every morning I get up and I just do my daily prayers, and I just try to continue day with on the right path as usual, and help others in my way, and just keep. But what really, it's not a struggle, but it's a loss that I had of my mother that has really brought who I am truly in self, of how strong I really can be, and how strong I have been in continuing to fight my recovery daily. Um, and that's kind of who I am today. Is I just want to fight today and try to continue to have a good life for my daughter. So when she looks up, she sees her dad and says, you know, my dad's sober. My dad does this. My dad works hard. He doesn't, you know, let things materialistically get to him. He just wants to make sure there's food on the table. And that's my identity right there, is to be a true father and a true person to everybody, not just my daughter, but in general. And to give all this good life in the past 3 years of recovery, give it to God and just thank him daily. Every minute that I have a chance, I say a quick prayer. My days consistence of prayers is consistently of prayers, because if I didn't turn his way when I did and ask for help and actually open up my arms and be willing to accept everything, I think I would still be that David Blaine that's drunk, that he's a hard worker, but don't hire him because he drinks. That guy still. Now it's like everybody said, hey, David's doing good, you know, blah blah blah. You know, it's just to me, it's just an average day when I speak of recovery to people. Even if they're still active, they're walking the streets. I stop in there and they thank me because they want to try a little harder because of who I became. And that's the joy of my recovery, watching people that are still active continue to try. And sometimes it catches, sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? All I can do is pray for them. I can only pray for myself, and I can continue to fight what I'm doing right now, which is being sober and giving it to God, because that's all I can do. And so, like, lately I've been missing my Saturday meetings. It's because I am trying to find myself right now. And that's where I'm at, because with the loss of my mother and being so reliant on that it's just a hit that I have to stay strong and stay on top. If I try to continue to be in a selfish poor me, it's just gonna begin that endless cycle of what I just crawled out of. So today in my recovery, I'm very grateful for everybody that's in recovery, and I'm grateful for those that are still active, that still come up to me and remind me of who I don't want to be, and who I fought so hard not to be, and who I'm gonna keep on trying to help, because I do not want any of this addiction for anybody else. It's a true blessing to walk every day sober, coherent, and just loving what I have in front of me than I did back in my addiction, when I didn't give a crap about any of you guys. Even if you were a bro that I work with or hung out with or whatever, I didn't care. Now I love myself, you know, and that's where it's at. As long as I love myself, I can love others, and my identity's building up every day as we speak. Every minute, every day that I wake up sober, I just praise God and I just keep pushing, and I try and push others, but it's up to them to keep walking in that door, or I'll hold the door open as long as it takes, but it's up to them to walk in and continue their fight. So right now, I am still continuing to figure out or find out, or whatever you want to call it, of who I really am, because this is a new life for me. And my belly button birthday, that's not my birthday no more. My birthday is my recovery day, because I was reborn again that day. And that's who I am, and that's who I'm gonna be, and that's who I'm fighting to be every day. So I just want to thank all you guys, and I'm very grateful to be here today in this meeting today, and just being able to see my daughter smile every morning and continue to have that relationship with my other daughter I've lost 12 years ago and finally came back into my life. And that's the joy. That's the identity I want, is the identity of being a true father, a true sober father, a grateful father, and, you know, and love and service. So, aho.
Who? Randy. Oh yeah.
Hope. I like the sorry guys. Man, this is I'm kind of just getting over COVID. It's like my second day of kind of feeling somewhat normal. So excuse me if I get like winded and stuff, but when I think of identity, I think of like why I used, why I was in a cycle of destruction. And it was because I didn't know who I was. So you have a case of lost identity. But once I came to the realization, like, hey man, like everything in this life for me pours out of my relationship with my creator. If God is my father and I'm an earthly father, and if God is my father, then I have to learn how to become a son to my creator. In order for me to be a good father, I have to learn how to be a son to my maker. And everything from that relationship pours out. I'm like David, I'm a single father, and man, there's nothing better than waking up and seeing the smile on my daughter's face. People probably get tired of me talking about it, but that's the life that I live on a daily basis. And I believe that it's my lifestyle that really preaches louder than anything that I can say or do. It's waking up consistently and saying, man, you know what? I'm not perfect and I never claimed to be, but I'm better than who I used to be. And this life is about growth. And you know what I mean? But like I said, man, like for me, man, my identity pours out from my relationship with my maker. I have to learn how to be a son to God, like, and that's because of my faith. Like without my faith, I can't be sober. Without my faith, I don't have strength. Without my faith, I can't strengthen others. Without my faith, I cannot encourage others. I can only give out what I take in. And that like lies in my relationship first. And that's why I'm so thankful to have a strong relationship with God, if you will. But I really had no other place to turn. I had a really strong encounter. I was the guy that would always make fun of God. I was always the guy that would mock people for believing in a higher power. And man, that guy sure came after me. You know what I mean? Like he came after me, man. And basically, you know, there comes a point in our lives where we really do have to choose life and death. You know, you really have to choose. Are you going to live a life filled with blessing, or are you going to live a life that's filled with curses? Like, are you going to live light, or are you going to live dark? You have the ability to choose. You have the choice. You have free will, but it's up to you what you take. You know, like, and that's why, like, it's heartbreaking. But when I think about it, I'm like, man, God, thank you for the path that I went on. Because without that experience, I wouldn't understand what it's like to speak a word of encouragement to somebody who lost hope. Just to tell somebody that, hey, man, you know what, man? I love you, bro. And it's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's not cheesy, but coming as a man, like from a man to another man, like not, it's just like, yo, like, I want you to understand, like, I love you, bro. Like, I value you for who you are. But without my relationship with my creator, I cannot extend that love, just like David said, because I didn't love myself. The Bible says to love God and to love others as you love yourself. You know, and we get lost in that. We get lost in not having it all together. We get lost in the process. But the beautiful part about this life and this mistaken identity is the process and finding how rooted we are in our relationship with our creator. Like no matter what we've gone through, like man, I went through the coronavirus, and man, there was a couple of nights like I literally prayed, like, man, I'm breaking this fever tonight. Like this fever has got to go tonight because I refuse to die tonight. Like that's how real it got for me. You know, like Wednesday night, I literally thought like I was going to die, bro. Like, and I'm not, you know, being dramatic, but it just got to that point where that fever would not break. But had I not had my relationship with God, I believe that I would have been overtaken by fear, and not to discredit any of those that have lost their life with COVID, because it is very fearsome. But all that stems from having a relationship with God, saying, man, you know what, God, man, you got to take care of me because I don't have the strength. God, you got to take care of my family. I don't know, you know, my family went through something very tragic this week, and the hardest thing for me was not being able to be there. But I had to rely on that relationship with God. Again, it goes back to the identity. Who am I before I wake up? Who am I? You know, first of all, I'm a son of God before I'm anything else. I'm a son of the Most High God before I'm anything else. And everything else falls secondary to my relationship with God. So that's really, you know, like I said, and coming now, like back to reality tomorrow, I'm like, man, like God, you have got to give me the strength. You got to give me the strength to encourage people. You got to give me strength to, you know what I mean? Like to be that person that just loves people for who they are. I don't care about your title. I don't care about nothing. But man, I just want you to see that there is gold inside of your life. You know? Everything. But in order for me to do that, I have to have my relationship with my creator first. And then everything is secondary. My relationship with my daughter is secondary to my relationship with my higher power. Like I have a desk in my, you know, my library and stuff is here, and she understands, like she's 7 years old, but she understands if her dad is in here reading, or if he's studying, or if he's praying, then if she comes into this room, she has to partake in the same activities, or she has to leave me alone. That's how, like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like being like real strict and religious. It's like that's how much I value my relationship. And in order for me, like I said, in order for me to be that father that God has called me to be, I have to learn how to be that son to him. Does that make sense? And that's, you know, that's what I got with identity. Thank you guys.
Appreciate that. JC. Go ahead, you got it.
I'm JC. I'm in recovery, Indian in recovery. And I just want to thank all you guys for sharing today. As usual, I learned so much from you guys when I listen to each and every one of you. It's pretty awesome to see you guys here today. But yeah, for me, I know, I think it was Feline who mentioned it, you know, when I was born, I was born with these inherent things in my DNA, and that was the fact that I was Crow and Assiniboine. My dad's Abzaloga and my mom is Nakota. And I was born with these things, but it was also enhanced too by the way I was raised and the things that people taught me, my elders taught me, my grandparents, my parents, and all those around me. But you know, and just a little bit of background too. Growing up, I always moved around. My dad was an educator, so I was getting jobs at different schools. I went to a lot of different reservations, and in that time, I was always, you know, I was always the new kid. I was always trying to play catch up. I was always trying to fit in, and well, I developed all kinds of coping skills. You know, one of them being, you know, my sense of humor. It's kind of off the wall. It's kind of wacky, goofy, however you want to put it. And I had that. And the other thing too is being half Galaga and half Nakota. I always got flack from both sides, you know, because of the other side. If that makes any sense, I don't know if I explained that right, but so there was that too. And so I think I was constantly in this sort of identity crisis and always trying to find out, trying to fit in, trying to find my place in the world. And so when I found alcohol, when I first started drinking alcohol, that was the game changer for me. It was so deceptive and evil that it made me think that was the answer to everything. Because when I was drinking, I could be anything I wanted to be. I could be funny, I could be handsome, I could be smart, I could be tough. I could be all those things. And it turns out that all that was a lie. All that was a lie, and I developed habits that stuck with me for a long time. Negative things, because I drinking to be liked, and I became an asshole. I drank to have fun, and I became miserable. I drank to be social, and I ended up isolating. And part of that too was trying to find validation in people whose interests in me were superficial at best, and whose love for me was conditional, absolutely conditional. And I know, because I've gone through some things. I had to go to prison, and that one right there taught me a lot about really who I was, because all those people throughout my life that I tried to impress, that I tried to fit in with, whose validation that I looked for, they were gone. They weren't there. Nobody wrote to me. Nobody, said, "How are you doing?" But the people that really honestly cared about me, the people that were telling me the truth, the ones that were saying, "You're messing up. You're smarter than this. You're better than this. You need to get your head, you need to get your act together." Those people that were telling me the things that I didn't want to hear were the ones that were there. They're the ones that supported me, and they were the ones that came out. And in the end, once I started, really putting myself into this walking the red road, then other people like you guys started coming into my life, and then I was able to learn, and I was able to find a place, and I was able to realize that I'm not alone. I've never been alone. I've always had the Creator, and even though I turned my back on my Creator, and I turned my back on my culture and our traditions and our tenets and our ways of living, Creator never turned his back on me, which is why I'm sitting in front of you right now today. And and the other thing too that I wanted to touch on was, the fact that all those traditional beliefs and all those values and everything that our culture has to offer, that our beautiful, amazing culture has to offer, and that we're inherently born with and also taught, getting back into those things is what really, really helped me. Is what really, really pushed me to the next level, I think. Because like I always say, you can't have one and do the other. You can't have them both. They can't exist in the same space. I can't be out there claiming to be a warrior for my people and yet doing destructive things, not only to myself, but to my family and to my community and to all of our people as a whole. So that was a huge thing for me. And I also started to embrace the fact that I am half Abzalaga and I am half Nakota. And I'm like David, I can kind of say my name in Crow, but I don't want to try it because I don't want to butcher it. My name is Thoro Ryder, and I'm lucky because I have a Nakota name too, and it's Thinker. And so, and I embrace that. I embrace everything about that. And you can see I got tattoos on my arms and my stomach, depicting that. I don't want to show you my tattoos. I don't want to show you my guns today because I don't want to break the internet. But and going through all of that and having to, I think it was Randy or one of you guys mentioned the fact that I had to go through trial by fire to come out the other side. So then when I help somebody, I can say, hey, I know what you're going through. I know what you're feeling. I know. I can be empathetic. And I can, say, I don't know everything, but I know from experience what I know, and I can share that with you, and hopefully you can get something out of it. And just the other day I was talking to my sister Athena, and she saw one of these videos, and she said, hey, that's my brother. She said, if he can do it, I can do it. And that right there, that kind of just that little comment that she made was like, wow, that's the reason why I'm doing this, is to show others and to try to provide a good example. And over the course of time, I realized, I understood that now I know what I'm not. I'm not worthless. I'm not a POS. I'm not a drunk. I'm not, I'm not anything. All these negative things that were coming into my mind, that I lived my life thinking. But and I'm not perfect either. And I don't try to be. I don't want to be. I can't be. There is no perfection. But what I realize now is today is that I'm loving, I'm honest, I'm empathetic, I'm giving, and all these other great things. And it took a while. And even now today, I still struggle with saying those things because of the enemy still tries to attack. When the enemy gets his hooks in you, he doesn't want to let go. So he knows how to get to me. He knows what buttons to push, because he's the one that invented them. But I can't believe the lie. And through walking the red road with you guys, and my constant commune with my higher power, and also trial and error a lot of times too, walking in faith regardless of how I feel, those are the things that get me through. Those are the things that bring me back to center. And so it's been a ride, and I'm really happy about where I'm at today. I know who I am. I know what I'm not. I love what Jadis said. Obviously, I want to make as many true friends as I can and have all that. But if somebody wants to pass judgment on my mistakes, then so be it. But our mistakes are not what define our lives. Those are just events. You can't read one page out of a book and expect to know what that whole book is about. So I just have to go with Janice. If you don't like me, that's on you. No, I don't care. So and I get to the point where I'm starting to go. I'm gonna start going off, start rambling. So with that, I will stop. I want to thank all of you guys for your words, your support, and for being here today. That's all I got. I hope.
Hey, JC, man, sun's out, guns out, man. Bring them out.
He said, can you show us your tattoos?
Break the YouTube.
We'll make a whole episode, man. Your tattoos. No, I just played. But no, cool, man. Awesome, man. Today, man, y'all brought the fire, and I got a lot out of today, for real. And if there's anybody out there struggling with identity, who you are, what you are, you're a child of the Most High, Yahuwah, Baratia, Ijik, creator of all things. That's a good place to start. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. I know some of you just now getting over that COVID, lean down with the strep. I appreciate you guys, wanting to jump on and share your experience, strength, and hope. It's awesome. But with that, we'll close with the silent proclamation.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that first part.
Oh, you got the first part.
I thought you were going to say to walk the red road, that part. That's the setup.
All right, I'll do the setup. To walk the red road is to offer up a silent proclamation.
We'll heal our wounded relationships.
We realize, and this day our future history begins. I hope.
All right, David did it for us. Right on.
Somebody's got it together.